If you've got an ADHD brain, I bet you know this feeling, that deep, down-to-your-bones exhaustion that is so much more than just being tired. It can make you feel completely alone, totally overwhelmed, and like you're failing no matter what you do. So today, we're going to get into what that really is, ADHD burnout, and, the important part, how to actually start healing from it. Okay, let's start right here, because this quote, it's an absolutely crucial reframe. Burnout isn't some kind of personal weakness or a lack of drive. Think of it as a physical injury. It's like your nervous system is a rubber band that's been stretched way too far for way too long, and now it just can't snap back. Getting this is the key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about. So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what we're actually talking about. Then, we'll dig into the hidden reasons it happens. We'll cover how to spot the warning signs in yourself. And then we get to the good stuff, a whole toolbox of strategies for recovery and how to build a support system that actually works for you. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. We're going to get really clear on what ADHD burnout is, because trust me, it is so much more than just feeling wiped out. What's so powerful about this definition is how it connects the physical feeling to the mental one. That chronic exhaustion, that's the symptom. But the cause is a nervous system that's literally stuck in the on position. And look at what that does. It chips away at your sense of competence, your trust in yourself, and even your purpose. It's not just an energy problem, it's an identity problem.
So that brings us to section 2. Why does this happen, especially with ADHD brains? Well, it's got nothing to do with willpower. There are real, concrete reasons this happens, rooted in how our brains are wired and the world we have to navigate every single day.
And this right here explains it perfectly. So a neurotypical brain gets a nice steady drip of dopamine to help it focus on boring stuff. The ADHD brain, it has less of that. So to compensate, it often has to fire up the adrenaline. It's like, think of 2 cars. The neurotypical car can cruise along at a calm 2,000 RPM. But the ADHD car, it has to redline at 6,000 RPM just to keep up. And running your engine that hot all the time, that double or triple effort, is exactly what burns you out. So on top of that internal engine running hot, you've got this thing called masking. This is like running a super complex energy-hogging program in the background of your mind all day, every day. It's constantly checking your words, your posture, your attention, all just to try and blend in. It's no wonder our systems get overloaded. And then there's this. Rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. This is a big one. It means that for many of us, the fear of being criticized or rejected isn't just a small worry. It's this intensely painful, overwhelming emotional experience. It adds this massive layer of stress to pretty much every interaction, constantly draining your emotional resources and pushing you straight towards burnout. Okay, so we know what it is and why it's happening. Section 3 is all about how to spot it. And it's so important to see these signs not as failures, but as your body sending you really important messages that the system is overloaded. So take a look at these. Does any of this resonate? That exhaustion that just makes no logical sense. The brain fog that makes even simple decisions feel like climbing a mountain. Or maybe it's that emotional numbness where everything just feels gray. That loss of creativity is a huge tell, too. It's a sign that the fun, brilliant, innovative part of your brain is just too exhausted to come out and play. If this sounds familiar, please know you're not failing. It's a signal. And seeing it is the first step to feeling better. Which brings us to section 4, the recovery toolbox. Now, these aren't magic wands, but they are real, practical things you can do to start healing your nervous system and getting your energy back. And the most important thing to get is that recovery has to start from the inside. Before we can fix our environment, we have to deal with what's happening internally. We've got to find ways to reduce that cognitive and emotional load that's keeping our engine in the red. A massive part of this is something called unmasking. And look, this isn't about flipping a switch overnight. It's a slow process. It starts by just noticing. When are you forcing yourself to act a certain way? Then you can slowly try new things, like maybe leaving a loud party when you're actually tired instead of pretending you're having fun. Every little bit of unmasking frees up so much mental energy. And this is where something like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can be a total game changer. I mean, after a lifetime of feeling like you're behind, you build up this really harsh inner critic, right? The one that says, I'm lazy, or I can't do anything right. CBT gives you the tools to spot those thoughts, challenge them, and start rewriting that internal script. It's about rebuilding that self-trust, one thought at a time. And now for our last section. Because here's the thing, recovery is not a solo sport. Once you start easing that internal load, you can start changing your external world so that it supports your brain instead of constantly fighting against it. This is where external systems become your absolute best friend. Seriously, a good task manager can basically act like an external brain for you. Think about it, a place to just brain dump everything so you don't have to hold it all in your head. A view that only shows you what's due today so you don't get overwhelmed. Even a little filter for easy win tasks on days you have zero energy. Every single one of these things takes a little bit of the strain off your brain. And that same exact idea applies to your job. Asking for accommodations isn't about getting special treatment. It's about creating an environment where you can do your best work sustainably. Things as simple as getting instructions in an email or being able to block off do not disturb time can make a massive difference in preventing that burnout cycle. And let's be real, professional help is a huge part of a solid support system. Medication can help your brain with things like focus and regulation, which just makes daily life less exhausting. And therapy or coaching can give you strategies that are built specifically for you and your brain. These are all completely valid, powerful tools for your toolbox. I want to kind of wrap up by shifting our focus a little bit with this quote. So much of the time, we're just trying to manage the hard parts of ADHD. But what if we started leaning into the strengths? That brain that's always in motion, that's also where the creativity comes from. It's where the out-of-the-box ideas live. And when you let that part of you out, you start to feel valid again. You start to feel joy. So I'll just leave you with this thought. We've talked a lot about how to cope, how to recover, how to manage in a world that wasn't really built for us. But what if the real goal isn't just about trying to fix ourselves to fit in? What if it's about changing the world to understand and even value our way of thinking? What would a world that actually embraced neurodiversity look like? Just something to think about.